In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه وسنة بسنة الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم أرنا الحق حقا واتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا واجتنابه. Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to another episode of the Reverse series in Why Islam. I am your host, Imam Jawad Ahmed, and today our topic is about Shirk, or association or partnership with Allah, and its types. As you may have seen the previous video about Tawheed, we mentioned that there are three categories of Tawheed. Similarly, there is Shirk in each of those three categories that we'll be talking about in this video, and then the next one also. First of all, what is shirk? It comes from the root Arabic word of sharaka, which has sheen, ra, and kaf. Sharaka or shirk means to associate, to have a partner. See, if me and you start a partnership, we'll have a musharaka. We're sharing. So the word literally shirk comes from the word concept of sharing authority, sharing power. As you heard and listened to the previous videos, we talked about that Allah is the sole creator. Allah is the sole God, the only one in this whole universe. So He does not share authority. He does not share or partner His position, His authority and dominion. Allah is the creator of this universe. Allah is the master of this universe. Allah is the controller of this universe. Allah is everything. And He is alone and one. So what is wrong with shirk? Why is shirk haram? Forbidden. Because when we, as a human being, do shirk, we are disrespecting Allah. We're disrespecting God. We're devaluing it. We're saying that God is weak. See, when do you need partnership? If I partner with you, it's because I'm not self-subsisting. I am not self-sufficient. I need help, whether it's monetary help, whether it's physical help, whether it's any kind of help. That's the reason I'm entering in a partnership. God has no partnership, and God has no partners. God does not need any partners. For if He needed partner, then He would not be qualified to be God. Make sure you go back to that video where we talked about the three criteria for God. For any God to be God, those three criteria are very important. And one of that is that God is not weak. He is not in need of anything or any help. If God needs help, if God needs assistance, then He is not qualified to be God. And if you remember in the previous video of Tawheed, we talked about the verse from the Quran, Allahu Samad. Allah is self-sufficient, self-subsisting. Allah is eternal. Allah is free from any deficiency. Deficiency is a sign of negativity, and shirk or partnership or association is a sign of negativity. And God has no negativities. God is all positive, all powerful, all strong. So that is the concept of shirk, which is the direct opposite of Tawheed. Tawheed is the oneness of God, all powerful, all authority. Shirk is the opposite of that. Throughout the Quran, Allah talks about shirk, that stay away from shirk, do not do shirk. Shirk is a sin, it's an abomination, it's a disgraceful thing. Those who do shirk will not be forgiven by God. Allah says He will forgive everything except shirk. And shirk is the reason why God sent thousands and thousands of prophets on earth. Every time a prophet died and left this world, humanity degraded themselves and disgraced themselves and went into shirk. Some civilizations started worshipping a cow. Some civilizations started worshipping an idol and statue. All of this is shirk. So human beings, when they started taking other objects or beings or other creations as God, that is what shirk. So then God would send another prophet and to rectify them, to teach them and preach to them and bring them back away from shirk. So whether it was Noah or Abraham or David or Solomon or Isaac or Jacob, whichever prophet came and then left, then people, after some years and times after the demise of their prophet, people will engage into shirk. So shirk is the number one reason why all these prophets came. And every prophet did the same thing and the same message. O people, Get away from shirk. Get away from the partnership of God. Do not associate any partners with God. Do not take anything as God besides Allah. So that is why shirk is an abomination and a sin that cannot be forgiven, and that is why we are ordered by Allah to stay away from it. Now, shirk itself has many types. Remember, my dear brothers and sisters, Islam, we talked about Tawheed, the three types of Tawheed, or the three categories. We have Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma al-Sifat, and Tawheed al-Ibadah. So in these three Tawheed, there are shirk in each aspect. So let us take the first one. Shirk in Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, meaning partnership, or how is partnership, or in the concept of the unity of God's lordship. There are two types of shirk in this. Number one is what we call shirk by association. That's one type of shirk, meaning you do believe in God, you do believe in a supreme being, but you also believe in another being to be its assistant. For example, as accepting a prophet of God to be a son of God or a part and parcel of God, or considering God incarnation into form of a human being. So that's associating with God. You believe in God, but you also associate with God another being. So that's shirk by association, which is dangerous, and we need to stay away from it. If you give respect, if you give honor to anything besides God, that's association, associating with God. Second type of shirk in this category is shirk by negation. You deny God totally, completely. You deny that God is not there, not existent. And that is also shirk, because God exists. That is why, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, when you took the shahada, if you remember, you said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah. Allah is the one and only God. There is no other deity and God out there. Like Allah said in the Quran, in Surah 21, Surah Anbiya, that if there were more than one God in this universe, there will be chaos and anarchy. So that is the proof that there is only one God. The symmetry and synergy of this universe, the way everything is smoothly running in this whole wide world, is a sign of the authority and the unity of Allah, of God. There is no partner. Just imagine if there was a God of the sun and a God of the moon, and they would be fighting each other. That when would the sun come out, when would the moon come out, or when one would go down. And the sun and moon are all obedient to God, Allah, and they follow the order of God. So shirk by association and shirk by negation are the two types of categories of shirk that come under Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, or unity of Allah's lordship. Second type, which is Tawheed al-Asma al-Sifat, unity in Allah's names and attributes. No one can take His names and attributes except Allah Himself, which we explained already in the previous video, so you can watch that. How is shirk in here? There are two types of shirk, or two categories of shirk in this Tawheed category, which is number one, shirk by humanization, which means that you give God human-like characteristics. You say that God gets sleepy or drowsy. You say that God is hungry, God is thirsty. So that is a shirk of humanization. You're giving human-like characteristics. Human have these weaknesses. Human have these things. And you begin to attribute that to God. That is why, if you remember, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, in the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, Surah number 2, we have the ayah number 255, known as Ayatul Kursi. What is Ayatul Kursi? The verse of the throne. It talks about the authority and magnitude of Allah. And in that verse, in that long verse, Allah says that La ta'khudhu sinatun wala nawm. No, neither sleep nor slumber overtakes God. God does not get sleepy nor drowsy, nor does God get tired or fatigued. To say that God created the world in 6 days and then rested, that's a kind of shirk. And that's the shirk of tahit al-asma wa sifat. You are saying, but if a person says that, then they're saying basically that God is not God, he's like a human being. He got tired, he needed to take a rest. God does not need rest, God does not get tired. So that's why there's no concept of Sabbath in Islam. We don't rest on Friday. Friday is not a rest day for us. We don't shut down everything and close. Okay, God rested on Friday, so we got to take a rest. No, nothing is that. The other faiths do that, and they have specific days. God says very clearly in the Quran about Friday. There's a whole chapter, surah called Surah Jummah, and He says that when the azan for Friday prayer is called, leave everything, drop down, and come to the prayer. And then in the same chapter, in the same surah, God says that when the prayer is finished, then spread out, distribute, dissipate it all over the land, and start earning, start working. So you only asked to stop doing everything for that duration of a prayer, which is what, an hour or something, or less than that. But besides that, in the morning of Friday, in the afternoon and evening of Friday, you can work. There is no Sabbath, there is no rest day. But yes, for worldly perspectives, if the Muslims want to have a day off, a day for family, a day for resting because they get tired and need rest, so that's fine. They can take it on a Friday, like in many Muslim countries they do that, or they can do it on a Saturday or Sunday or any day for that matter. So that is shirk by humanization, giving human-like characteristics to God. Inshallah, we'll continue from here in the next video of the part 2 of this series of shirk. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.